Uncle Eddie's birthday party tonight. Yay! Oh yes, can't wait. The highlight of our week. How many more years is that old man gonna survive? Just a little more patience, Max. Patience? Isn't he turning 100? Trust me, a little patience, and it'll all be worth it. Uncle Eddie was no ordinary man. At 99 years old, he was filthy rich, a bachelor for life, and living in a massive vintage mansion. He was kind, but old-fashioned. Ruby, his niece, was beautiful, cunning, and sharp as a tack. In her mid-20s, she played the part of the doting niece perfectly, though her heart was set on only one thing: her uncle's fortune. Max, Ruby's boyfriend, was the laziest con man with a knack for shady schemes. Together, they'd been planning for years to inherit Eddie's money. But Eddie had other ideas. 5 stubborn years of living proof. And tonight is Eddie's big milestone, 100 years old. Ruby and Max were hopeless, bitter, and just out of patience. Flowers for you, Uncle Eddie. To a century of living and to annoying relatives who make life interesting. Cheers. Cheers. Live clean, die rich, and never trust anyone. Speaking of which, last week, a social worker gave me a funeral home card. I told her, "My dear, I'll live another 100 years." Ambitious. Or delusional. But something miraculous happened that night. Uncle Eddie finally sneezed and died. Is he really dead? No way. No, Max. He is really dead. Did you put something in the flowers? What the? No, he just died. I guess it was just time. Finally. But funerals aren't cheap. I don't care, we're not spending a penny on that old man. Hey, remember this? Uncle Eddie mocked it last night. Ruby snatched the card. It read, "Eternal Rest Services. Affordable, discreet, same-day ashes." Curious, she whipped out her phone and typed in the name. The first result made her snort. Oh my, listen to this. We treat your elderly departed like royalty. If royalty costs under $99, they even have a DIY farewell kit with plastic flowers, a scented candle, and complimentary embalming spray. Same-day ashes for under $100? Done, let's book it. Ruby shook her head, but couldn't hide her grin. Later that night, the doorbell rang. 2 men in black suits stood silently on the porch, carrying a plain coffin. Expressionless. Without another word, they took the body away. We'll return the ashes within 12 hours. Ruby and Max exchanged a look, smirking. Max flopped on the sofa. That was almost too easy. I still don't trust it. But neither of them bothered to think much more. there was inheritance to dream about. The next morning, a plain box sat neatly on their doorstep. Ruby dragged it inside, curious. Inside rested a cheap, velvet-wrapped urn. The label was clear. Edward Marks. Wrong name. Typo. Who cares? They placed it on the mantel and promptly forgot about it, distracted by the visions of cars, trips, and selling the mansion. That night, they poured wine and toasted to their good fortune. To Uncle Eddie's early departure. Finally, freedom and money. Cars, trips, mansions, we'll live like kings. The first night, Ruby lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Max snored softly beside her, oblivious. She told herself she was imagining it, until the phone rang at exactly 3:33 a.m. Who even calls at this hour? Probably debt collectors. Go answer it. With a sigh, Max reached over. The line was filled with static. Then, faintly, a voice cut through. You cheap little rats. Did you hear that? Was that? Did you hear that? Was that him? Uncle Eddie? You're right. He's dead. You're dreaming. Ruby didn't sleep after that. Over the next few nights, strange things began happening. The noises started softly. Footsteps, just above them, pacing back and forth. Not a creak of the old house, but real footsteps, deliberate ones. Ruby lay awake, heart pounding. She tried telling Max. He's walking in his room, I swear. Your imagination's going haywire. But Max wasn't around much at night, and Ruby began noticing much more things. Eddie's portrait, hanging in the hallway, fell one morning. No wind, no one had touched it. The mornings after, the urn on the mantel moved slightly, just a fraction. Ruby would wake up convinced it was further forward than before. She told Max, who laughed it off every time. The next night, it started pouring outside. Thunder shook the mansion while rain slammed against the windows. Max went upstairs and fell asleep quickly, but Ruby stayed awake listening to the storm. After nearly an hour of staring at the ceiling, she finally got out of bed to get some water. Halfway downstairs, the power suddenly cut out, throwing the entire house into darkness. Ruby sighed and grabbed her phone for light.
before walking toward the breaker box near the hallway closet. She flipped the switches a few times, but nothing happened. That's when she heard it again. Footsteps. Slow, heavy footsteps creaking somewhere above her. Ruby froze and looked upstairs nervously. Max? But there was no answer. Then another sound came, like a scratch. This time it came from the living room. Ruby slowly followed the sound toward the mantel where the urn sat. The scratching continued for another few seconds before stopping completely as she stepped closer. Ruby hesitated, staring at the urn while trying to calm herself down. Probably some bug, rats, mice. Slowly, she reached forward and twisted the lid open. Inside was nothing, except for ashes. Ruby let out a shaky breath, embarrassed at herself. But when her fingers brushed the ashes, her expression changed instantly. They were hot. Not warm, burning hot. Ruby jerked her hand back. Why is it so hot? Suddenly, lightning flashed across the windows, lighting up the room for a split second. Uncle Eddie sat calmly in his favorite chair across the room, staring at her directly. Ruby screamed. The lights flickered back on immediately. Immediately, the chair was empty. Max came rushing downstairs, half asleep. He was here. I saw him, Max. He was here. Ruby, you're exhausted. You're sleepwalking. Max didn't listen to her. He guided her upstairs, while Ruby kept glancing back toward the empty living room.
By the end of the first week, Ruby had started sleeping with her phone nearby, recording the house at night. Every night at 3:33 a.m., the phone rang with no caller ID. Every night. The air in the house felt heavier, and the laughter of a very old man seemed to echo softly through the walls. Enough for Ruby to bolt upright and scream into the darkness. Max, meanwhile, was growing tired. This is getting ridiculous. You want ghosts? Go to a haunted house. We've got bills. You don't hear it? You never hear it. But I do, it's him. Fine. You deal with your ghost. I'm getting sleep. That morning, Max woke up to a strange sight. Ruby was kneeling before the mantel, her fingers clutching the urn, whispering something he couldn't hear. I'm sorry, Uncle Eddie. Ruby, what the hell are you doing? He's here, Max. You're talking to a box of ashes. You're losing it. He's not a box of ashes, he's Uncle Eddie, and he's pissed. Max sighed, rubbing his temples. That night, while Ruby slept curled on the couch, he packed a bag. If he left now, he could take the inheritance money and vanish. No more ghosts, no more Ruby. Before leaving, Max went to Uncle Eddie's room, searching for anything useful. Receipts, wills. Tonight, he dug deeper. He rifled through drawers until he found Eddie's laptop under a pile of old newspapers. Curiosity gnawed at him. Opening it, he spotted an open email draft addressed to someone named Eternal Rest Services. The subject line read, "Confirming service, Eddie Bennett." The body contained dates and an address, but also one line that froze him. Phase 2. Eddie still in play. Keep earn delivery simple. Max's mind raced. He slammed the laptop shut and stormed to Ruby. "Ruby? Uncle Eddie is alive." "What? No, he's dead." "No, I think he's playing us." A week before his 100th birthday, Uncle Eddie was pacing his massive study. The smell of old leather and cigar smoke in the air. He wasn't speaking to anyone, except for Mr. Graves, the shady owner of Eternal Rest Services, who lounged in a creaky chair like a villain in an old movie. My greedy niece and her clown of a boyfriend. They've been waiting for me to kick the bucket for years. Let's give them what they want, but on my terms. And your terms? A huge payout. You fake my death, I get my freedom. The plan was devilishly simple. Graves' funeral home would supply a fresh corpse. An unclaimed man named Edward Marks. They'd swap bodies, cremate Edward's remains, and pass off his ashes as Eddie's. The world would believe Eddie Bennett was dead. In return, Eddie would legally die, cash in his $8 million life insurance policy, and vanish. He signed the papers with a smirk. Let them celebrate my death. I'll celebrate my freedom. That night, Eddie vanished, reappearing weeks later in the Caribbean as Henry Moore, complete with forged papers arranged by Graves. Ruby's hands trembled, her voice cracked. He faked it? The old man faked it all? If that isn't dead, then where the hell is he? Ruby stared at him, her mind racing. The house suddenly felt colder, heavier, like a trap closing in. No, Max. If Uncle Eddie's alive, then who's haunting us? Who's haunting us? They both turned slowly toward the urn. The cracked label read, Edward Marks. Burned me alive. But sir, we don't have any unclaimed bodies with... Then get a body, I don't care, find someone. I already took the money for this.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.